I get the privilege to lead a ministry called the Alternative Church. My position is the apostle. That's my position. It is not who I am. If tomorrow y'all don't meet me down the road and call me Apostle Castel, me in cure. Me able to deal with all of this chat. Call me Castel when you see me. Seeing a young lady to the back buying a call her the name I like to call her. Only she allows me to, but not on the mic. But if y'all don't call me apostle, I don't care. You know what matters to me in titles actually? Servant, husband, father. That's it. And my last name is Abraham. So if you call me Father Abraham, I might just have to sing Had Many Sons. That's okay. But those are the three titles that mean something to me. Servant, husband, father. I don't care about nothing else. Because I have understood that titles do not make me who I am. I've seen people getting vexed because you introduced them and because you didn't call all the 5 titles before, they got to come up and correct you. No, it's not just this and this, there's also this. And then what? What I need you to be is effective in that job that you're called to do. That's what I need you to do. Not you to correct me in how I introduce you. I need you to be effective. And young people, when your time comes, we need y'all to be effective in what you've been called to do. So even as you look at your future, your job does not make you who you are. However, in any job that you get to do, make sure that you do it effectively. If my son or daughter have to meet any one of y'all, I say son or daughter, I probably prophesy. Glory be to God. I have a daughter though. If my daughter end up in any administrative area or anywhere she meets one of y'all, I want her to come back and tell me, yo, I had such a great experience. I went to this office, I met this person, I was greeted properly. They took my request, I got what I asked for, I went on my merry way, bam. Life ain't difficult. Let's not make it unnecessarily difficult. So, again, while we're here talking about who you are, I'm actually giving you points on who you're not. So the first one was, you are not your name, and the second one is, you are not your title. And the last one is, you are not the image that you pretend to be. There's a famous quote that I saw on social media. I love it because it clearly says, may your life be as great as you pretended to be on social media. Let's keep it real. We got some people aiming for a couple of goals, but y'all don't see them every day of their lives. Y'all don't see when they have differences. Don't even call me and my wife couple of goals. I love my wife and we're going to be together till one of us kick the bucket of both of us. But we're not perfect. We're going to clash. So if you ever have us as couple of goals, I would please ask you to take it down. I ain't pretending. When somebody tells me, yeah, I look up to you, that's great, but I don't need you to be Castel number 2. I need you to be the first you. Yeah. You see this pretending thing? That is, this pretense, this image that a lot of us want to project, we kill way more people than we actually know of. And when I say kill people, I mean we're killing the spirits of people pretending to be something that we're not.
Growing up, sadly, my parents eventually separated. At the time I was young, I didn't understand that people can actually grow apart. You know, when you're born, everybody has their identity. You find a person in high school and you love with them, but eventually you can grow apart, and that's possible. But as a child, I didn't understand that. And I was not rebellious in the sense of a rude person getting in trouble or getting in trouble with the law, because I always was very cognizant of not embarrassing my parents. That was a huge thing for me. Whatever I do in my life, I try my best not to embarrass my parents. But just the process was very difficult in the sense of, there were times where if I talked to one of my parents about the other one, they would have something negative to say. And I was talking something positive. So what that did to me was, I ended up going into a shell. I kept, whatever I had to say, I kept it to myself. Because, again, every time I find this is something positive about a person that I love, because it's my parent, the other one had something negative to say. So parents, be very cognizant of what you're saying because you really impact your child. Whereas for me, I went into a shell. I chose not to say things, and that transitioned me into my being a teenager and with things that I do outside of my family circle. So I learned to just keep stuff to myself. One of the things that you learn about keeping stuff to yourself is just like a bottle. It's just like a pipe, actually. If you clog a pipe and you keep pouring water in it, eventually the water will overflow. Usually that overflow is you exploding on somebody who actually you love, somebody who actually looking out for you. So it's important for you to be able to speak to somebody and say things, talk to somebody, express yourself. I did counseling, I did a lot of different things, what eventually helped me. Yes, I threw myself into my sports and I did a lot of different things. But I learned to cope with the situation and then I learned to actually speak up. You have to speak up. If you don't speak up, you are going to suppress yourself and put yourself in a situation that you might not be able to handle. You know, I went through my situation, but just last week, I had a conversation with an old friend of mine. He reached out to me and said, yo, pass by so we could talk. And I couldn't rock. Went by and he was expressing himself about something. And then he told me, he said, you know, you remember back in the day when I used to come by you and we'd playing our video games and then your father would be like, hey, hurry up, pack up because we gotta go fishing, and then y'all would take me and drop me home. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you know how that made me feel? You wouldn't understand how that made me feel. At the time, right now I'm 41, he's 41 as well. At the time we were 8, 9 years old. And that was something that he carried with him till that conversation last week. A conversation that actually he expressed himself and he started to cry. He started to share some of the things that he was going through and some of the things that he went through back then. See, I was going through my situation, but he was basically raising himself because during that period of time, his father got hooked on drugs. So his father being on drugs, his father actually used to go fishing and do those things with him. But at that time, his father started, of course, because he was addicted, he stopped doing those things. So of course, he was angry with his father and he blamed his father for a lot of stuff. But I did not know what he was dealing with. We all deal with our different things. We all have our different things. So we all have to be, you know, considerate about other people.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
So from Scars to Stars, Protect the Next Generation vision started with simply a vision, because both me and Pastor Ralph, we are children of God. So we are servant of God and doing what He called us to do. And He simply asks us to go and change the world, to go and save people, to go and make sure those that are blind will be able to see, those that cannot speak to be able to speak, those that can walk to be able to walk. So the vision is really from that, transforming people so they can become who God called them to become. So the vision is simply to protect the next generation, protect what is left. And then we indeed, like you said, that Ricardo, that we see that perhaps we didn't do anything quickly, but the vision was given now, and I believe it is on a timely manner. And the time is now to do something. Stop complaining and do something about it. And then the vision is simply given by God. So it's the instruction, and the instruction, I decided to follow it exactly how He gave me based on the footprint. And He told me to gather with more people with the same heart for community. Going back to the days of the community raising our children, guiding our children to help our children become what they're supposed to become. Because little children, they really don't know. So they will put the finger in the fire and then get burned, and then it's too late. So what we're trying to do is protect them so they don't get burned.
Yeah.
And when you talk a little bit about the prison, like that you've seen a lot of youngsters, some guy, very young, and they're very active person that you work with.
Very sad.
How can we solve that problem for having that many youngsters into the
So indeed today I mentioned, because today I was at the Point Blanche prison, which you find those that are, in their young adulthood or adults. Mm-hmm. But I also visit the MLC, which is the youth prison. Youth prison, you find them from about age 14, 15 to about 18. So I visit both of them with the aim to transform their life. And when I speak to a lot of people that is in prison, both at the youth prison and the house of detention Point Blanche, I see all of them were originated from broken home.
Yeah.
Childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Mommy wasn't there, or daddy wasn't there, or physical abuse. Mm-hmm. They grow up with a lot of substance abuse. Poverty, because of poverty, will make them start to do, all kinds of stuff. We see parents with mental issues. So all kinds of dysfunctional home. So and out of this dysfunctional home, eventually you will have dysfunctional children.
Yeah.
And then out of dysfunctional children, we will have a dysfunctional community.
Society, yeah.
Yeah, the whole society. So everything will be broken. So we have to now start to work on the social problem that we have on the island. And I was talking to someone sometime there. I believe firmly this problem started about at least 25 years ago. With a lot of migration to the island, a lot of parents working 2 to 3 jobs, barely making it, the children on their own, doing their own thing. So it created what we are seeing today. And unfortunately, yes, we should not blame anything on government, but nothing was done on time to be able to curb all what we're seeing now. The low income and all these kind of factors, the social, mental, traumatic problems that cause people's society, that's where we at right now. Yeah. That's really where we at right now. So we need Jesus. Yeah. So this is where God comes in to restore people, and He can fix people.
Now, what is your goal? Because you've been around a lot to see how things, the different changes, as to the background study and other things that you do. Can you share some of your views to the audience that we are doing this interview?
It starts in the homes. It all starts in the home, and the reality is that we can't be everywhere at the same time. So while we, in our work as people who just love the community, love engaging with especially young people and so forth, if we had the time, if we were able to spend every single day to visit a home and say, hey, you should probably consider getting this in order and so forth, that's not enough though. And it's not possible, right? But what is possible though, and where my role come in is that it's not just us, but it's a group of persons who willingly, volunteer their time, but also have the experience, the know-how on how to reach young persons and build them up in the ways that they need to be built. So as someone who for years, going on a decade actually, visiting different classrooms, whether it's high schools or primary schools, for me it was like a no-brainer to partner with Miss Anne to that effect, because as the tagline says, it's scars to stars, but also leaving no one behind, protecting what is left. And so as a young person, for example, I have experienced persons that I went to school with who unfortunately fell within the cracks, or life dealt them a bad hand, and you see how that has held them back from achieving or attaining the great purpose that that they have, the great potential that that they have, whether it's in sports, whether it's in academics, in the arts, and so forth. So it is, in essence, us saying that the things that we've always been saying, where St. Martin has talent. We've always been saying we need to support our youth. We've always been saying the youth are our future. This is putting our foot on the ground. This is sowing seeds, starting with just one, to the 5, to the 10, to the dozens, to the hundreds, then the thousands, but a commitment towards reaching as many young persons as possible, and guiding them towards becoming stars.
Yes.
Because we were all born to shine, and we believe that they can shine and they must shine.
Any one of you could answer this question. I don't think this is the first section that you keep in.
There's a second.
Do you have any more that you're going to keep? Because just talking to the young people today, that's not that population that you have here today. But maybe what they keep doing is have more of these type of conventions, or maybe a TV program or a radio program, and some of the messages get out to some of them. Any plan for that in the future?
So we started with a youth summit, which was well attended in beginning of July or mid-July.
Yes. Mid-July.
Mid-July, yes, which was well attended. And we are planning to do this youth summit annually. And what the aim of SCARS, Protect the Next Generation from Scars to Stars, is to do community outreach workshop, which right now we're doing at the St. Peter's Community Center. So the aim is to do it in various communities around the island. Then also we are starting to, which we in preparation for that we're going to enter into the schools, both high schools and primary school, speaking about the same 5 topic, which is the aim of Protect the Next Generation, which is 1, the mental health, 2nd, substance abuse, the 3rd, childhood trauma, the 4th, peer pressure, bullying, and violence, and the 5th, which we did today, which is your career. So we are focusing on those 5 with workshops also going into the various schools, doing the whole interactive with the whole school, based on age, of course. And then also we launched our website, and the website is very important because on the website we have the Scars to Stars series. These are series with the same 5 topics, talking about teaching, coaching, equipping about the same 5 topics, so you can overcome, heal, and deal. On the website, we also have Young Mind Matters, which is a lot of reading material, again, with the same 5 topics, because we realize these are the 5 topics traumatizing, tormenting, not only the youths, but the adults. Even adults, the entire community. So that is our aim right now. And of course, we need more volunteers, because right now we have about 43 volunteers. And from the volunteers, we have pastors, apostles, we have psychologists, we have psychiatrists, we have trauma specialists, we have community officers, we have coaches, sports coaches, we have teachers, or we have business people that want to say, I want to be part of it. What can I do? Can I donate? Financially, can I just help with the planning, or can I just talk to a young person? And we are focusing on age 8 and up, changing mind, because everything starts in the mind and it's finished within the mind.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your MySZV account today and enter the virtual office of SZV. Go to szv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah, your social health insurances.
Mr. Chair, as I sit here, opposition member, I must say that when I hear my colleague MP De Weaver speaks, it gives me hope. It gives me hope as we don't go on here, say or she say, whatever say, that if indeed it is true, we have a minister, potential minister of Rummy that knows what she is doing. When I hear MP De Weaver speaks, I felt like she took my notes because I understand few clause. While I do not agree, I understand the formula, and to see that the formula was actually written by the MP, while I do not agree with the way that GEBE is carrying out this mechanism. GEBE is the monopoly. GEBE makes money off of the people of St. Martin. But when I see here, the people of St. Martin is basically being used to pay every bill from GEBE. We speak of SUL. SUL had a 30-year exclusivity contract, which eventually is coming to an end. I would like to hear, Honorable Prime Minister, through you, Mr. Chair, what is the plan when it pertains to SUL? Are we now looking for different options, viable options? Are we going to just renew due to the fact that we owe SUL? And if it's not coming to an end this year, next year, eventually it'll come to an end. And if I'm wrong, correct me if they do not have exclusivity, through you, Mr. Chair. Also, echo the sentiments of my colleague MP Gums. There is said that the cost will not be passed on to the public. Find it very strange as budgets are usually neutral. So what goes out needs to come in. What is the plan then? Are we going to crack down on collections, through you, Mr. Chair, to ensure that money is coming in? I also see that we have generators that we're going to fix. So we hear more containerized generators and we hear fixing of generators, but a lot of these generators that we want to fix has reached their maximum time. So it goes back to the question of my honorable colleague, Mr. Kutai. What is the lifespan of those generators, specifically the ones that we are fixing? What is the plan for GEBE pertaining to the main generators indeed? Does GEBE has money to purchase new generators besides the containerized generators? Because for us to purchase these containerized generators and then still go through the problems a year or two from now with the main generators leaves us back in a quagmire. I would like to hear more specifically through you, Mr. Chair, through the Honorable Prime Minister. You gave us a sneak peek of your vision. If it's not now, but before the end of this meeting, I would like a more elaborate plan, a 4-year plan for GEBE, a 4-year plan and real vision for GEBE, a realistic one considering the financial constraints. I also would like to know, I know when we were in the Council of Ministers, GEBE had some, and maybe this can be answered off or privately, I'll take this in writing through you, Mr. Chair, had some financial constraints and definitely not where they needed to be. But seeing that we can purchase these containerized generators without passing the cost to the public, I would like to know from an analysis over the past year to see if GEBE's financials has increased. Also, with all of the additional expense, I would like to know GEBE's ability to pay workers, pay bonuses that are customary. Christmas is, believe it or not, right around the corner, and also the COLAs for the workers. How is this being worked out with GEBE? Do they foresee any issues with bonuses, COLAs, and payment of management and workers?
But what I would like from the government side is to really explain why the throughput fees exist, how they came into play, and really break it down for the general public. Because we have to understand sometimes we look at investments and items that we see in the public and don't understand that everything that we do has a cost. There's nothing in this world that's free. And I think this is also important for future investments that we might be looking at. Second to that, we just came out of an election, and there was a lot of discussions on GB in particular, and I believe that now it's also time to hold the parties and even individuals accountable for the expectations that were created during this time. One faction is the DP faction, who mentioned, for example, about removing the concession fee from GB to bring relief. What I would like to know from the government, is this an option? Is this an option that the government is looking into? Removing the concession fee, so the amount that GB pays the government every year, removing that in any way that would then allow Mr. Washington and his team to bring some sort of relief for the people. If that's the case, would that also be reflected in the Budget Amendment 2024 or the Budget 2025? And going forward, because I think, yes, we have all these discussions, but the general population right now just want to hear about some type of relief, and not just, let's say, in the price of the cost of their bills, but the fact that they had to go through this load shedding period, that some type of relief should be given for experiencing the load shedding period, not just the bills. So are we going to say, listen, of course, GB is a business, we have employees to pay, and they also have to look at future investments. We can't bankrupt GB, obviously. But are we going to look and say, hey, this is our revenue, this is the amount we have for a certain period of time, for those at least then that have been paying their bills, for a 6-month period, you will have a 20% reduction, a 30% reduction on your bill for this period of time, as a sorry, a thank you for your patience during this time. Obviously, in line with making sure that GB can afford it. But I think that we have to have some type of discussion about relief. Persons that have been affected by equipment going bad, for example, and they don't have the receipts from 3 years ago. They didn't save the receipt with the expectation that we'd have the load shedding and it would damage their equipment. So it's hard for them to even be able to get a refund through the GB program that they do have. So again, I would really like to know if any sort of relief, and it doesn't have to be 2024, but if it's 2025 even, if there's any discussion about a future relief for persons, specifically for the period of the load shedding that they had to endure.